What's up, you guys? Snillium, what's up? Womack, what's up? We're back at it. Neo, how you doing? How's everybody doing? Weez, how you doing? How you guys all doing? Back at it with another stream. Bro, all day today I've just been YouTubing. Like, from the moment I woke up till now, I was just like planning videos out. Then I wrote out like 3 different live streams. And then I've just been doing them. It's been quite the day. Suki says, who's the best dad in Hunter x Hunter? I mean, it's probably like freaking Leorio. Like, Leorio's a better dad than Ging. I don't know. Everyone in Hunter x Hunter is like kind of a crazy, insane person. So there actually isn't like a good father figure. Bisky is kind of like a good mother, though. Like, she's kind of like Gon and Killua's mom, low key. But yeah, what's up, you guys? What is up? What is up? So I put together this live stream here, just essentially just proving why Ging is canonically like an actual deadbeat. This was actually something I was gonna post yesterday as kind of like a joke for Father's Day, but I decided, nah, let's just have everybody just enjoy Father's Day, let it be a nice day, and then I can do this like kind of joking live stream the next day, even though it's like actually just canonical that Ging actually is a true deadbeat. Tenua, how you doing? Mito is Gon's mom. True. Actually, we'll talk about that too, because this live stream we're actually just gonna go in depth, kind of analyzing Jing's relationship with Gon and the whole family dynamic and the Freaks' family. So we'll talk about that. What's up, Bromus? True, Aunt Mito she actually is a good guardian. But let's just start yapping about this. Okay, so I was reading this interview between Togashi and the author of Tokyo Ghoul. And they were doing this interview talking about the Hisoka backstory that the Tokyo Ghoul author wrote. And they had this bit of dialogue in here when they were talking about like how parents, if you have like good parents in a story, it can kind of hold the story back in some ways. And Togashi has this interesting dialogue here. If you look at like this statement from Togashi, he says like parents in a story, they're only there to oppose what the protagonist does. And then he's talking about Gon. He's saying Gon would just be like an elementary school student in the real world. And if he had good parents, they'd never let him go on such a dangerous journey. And then he was thinking of ways to get around that. And this last sentence he says here like sums it up a lot. He says, eventually that became a story about him searching. Sorry, let me just read it word for word. He said, eventually that became a story about searching for his parent. And then I decided on the concept of making his parent a really awful person. So like, legitimately, canonically, Ging is just confirmed to be an awful person. Like, he's written to be an awful person. That was Togashi's intent when he wrote the character. So that way Gon could go off and like have a dangerous adventure as the main character. Tenua, you missed the last debate. I still have it up as a VOD. It was a fun one. But all right, so throughout the manga, we get a lot of different glimpses at like Jing's personality. But here's just something I noticed about Ging that like further backs up the idea of him being a deadbeat that I don't really see other YouTubers speak about too much. So it's this scene here where he's speaking with Pariston's team of hunters that are on their way to the Dark Continent. And Ging is like trying to bargain his way into being the number 2 of this organization. And what he tells them is that he'll pay every single member of this organization twice what Beyond Netero paid him. And he'll pay it up front, and they can accept the money at any time. This is Ging showing you that he is extremely rich to the point where he can just give out insane amounts of money, like with no problem. Also, there's this scene here in the top right panel where these guys are like thinking that they can battle Ging. They would have gotten slammed on their neck if they actually tried it, but this is like, I'll just keep going further and we'll analyze this scene and you'll start to see what I'm talking about here. So yeah, this is him saying he has no problem with paying the money up front, like immediately. If they want the money right now, he can pay it to them right now with no problem. And he's also like in this right hand panel, he's saying like, you don't even need to accept it right now. Anytime throughout the mission or any point, like whenever you decide that you want the money, just let me know and I'll send it to you guys with zero hesitation. Then we see in this left-hand panel here, the guy's like, okay, can I actually get the money now? And he just gives him a huge chunk of money with no with no worries at all. And the dude walks off and everyone there is like, okay, yeah, he probably just scammed you. He's not even going to come back. And Ging doesn't even bat an eye at it. Like, giving away this much money means actually nothing to him. It would be like the equivalent of you or me giving away like $1. And then we see here in the right hand panel, we start to get an idea of how much money Ging actually just gave him for free, right? So in the right hand panel, the dude comes back and he's like, he spent the money already. And this will give you an idea of how much money Ging gave him. He said, if he had 3 hunter licenses, sold them all, he still would not be able to pay off the hospital debt for his sister. But like, thanks to the money Ging gave him, the insurance pay will now take care of it for a lifetime. So there's different ways of like interpreting that scene. Maybe he like put a big insurance claim on himself, or maybe the amount of money Ging gave him was worth more than 3 hunter licenses. And Ging just gave it out with like zero hesitation. And we know that the hunter licenses are worth a stupid amount of money. And then we get in the bottom right hand panel, the dude is accepting Ging as like the second in command. But let's just keep going here. We actually get the actual number representation for how much money Ging was giving out. If this is where it starts to get really crazy, okay? So if you look at the left hand panel, Ging is like, you 10 members, this is not the whole team, is it? This isn't the whole team, right? Tell everybody that I'll pay them up front too, okay? And then in the right hand panel here, they ask him like, do you know how many members of us there actually is? And he's like, yeah, I know, there's 200 of you. Okay. And now if you look at the bottom panel here, the bottom, like on the right hand side, the bottom panel, this girl with the glasses, she says, Beyond promised to pay 1.5 billion to those who go and 200 million to the alternates. Okay, so like if you take it at the highest level, 1.5 billion for each person, and you double that for 200 people is an insane amount of money, and Ging is willing to just throw that away at any point with no worries. Like you can kind of scale it. I actually didn't even do the math completely correct. Like let's highball it here, right? So let's say that Ging doesn't know about the alternates having a different price point, and he's just assuming every single one of them were paid 1.5 billion. Let's just assume that, okay? 1.5 billion for 200 people, that would be 300 billion. And so that if it's dollars, that would be $300 billion. Times that by 2, that's $600 billion. But the Hunter x Hunter currency, I think it's called Jenny in Hunter x Hunter. It's something like that. It has like some unique name. But typically, like in anime, I know in One Piece, like berries is meant to represent yen. I was assuming that this was meant to represent yen too. So the dollar equivalent would be $2 billion that Jing's just willing to give out for free. And if you double that, because he said he would pay double to each of them, that would be $4 billion essentially in our real world money today. And Ging is just willing to give that out for free at no time, with no problem. He doesn't care. Okay. The reason why this is crazy, this tells you that Ging is a multi-billionaire and like much beyond, he's not just a multimillionaire. Ging is a multi-billionaire, and Gon lives in the freaking woods, bro. Gon and Gon and Aunt Mito live in the woods, bro. That's insane. Ging is out here with like literally like insane amounts of bread. He can freely give away $4 billion without even breaking a sweat, not even caring if the people join the team or not. He can just for free give out $4 billion. And Gon and Aunt Mito live in the woods. We don't even know, like, I'd be surprised if they have running water, bro. They're out there just struggling. But this man has $4 billion to give away to complete strangers with no worries at all, bro. Also, this tells you Beyond Netero also has this much money too. But like when I started really thinking about that, I'm like, he really is like the pinnacle of deadbeats. When you literally got $4 billion to give away for free, and you just don't give any of it to Gon or Aunt Mito, you just let them out, struggle in the woods in like a shack. That's just insane, bro. Anyways, we'll keep going here. This is these are some scenes in the manga. Some of them aren't actually even in the anime, but we get like a bit more of information as to like how Gon views Ging. So oh, okay, yeah, I remember why I put these panels here. This is showing you a little bit of like how Gon views Ging, and it's also showing you that like Gon's life is kind of messed up because Ging is a deadbeat, bro. Like, it makes perfect sense why Gon is like such a crazy person. Just this fatherless activity is what he's displaying, really. But if you look at the left-hand panel here, Gon was pretty much alone. Like, if you pay attention to his character, he didn't have any friends. He was just in the woods, like, fishing by himself. And, like, his, like, one friend in the woods was, like, a giant bear. Like, he didn't have a normal childhood by any means. And he has this line of dialogue where he tells Killua, "You're my first friend I had that was around my age." Another thing we don't talk about is that Gon's literally a victim. He just admits that. He admits that later in the Chimera Ant arc, but we'll just leave that there. And that I blame that on Ging too. Just like straight up, just left this kid to just be a victim to these streets. You look at the right hand panel. This is actually something that's only in the manga. Gon says if he had not met Kite, he might not have tried to find out about Ging at all. Like him meeting Kite and Kite telling him like, hey, even though your dad abandoned you and he's a deadbeat, he's like one of the craziest hunters in the world, bro. He's wild and sick, dude. Like if he hadn't met Kite, Gon might have never looked to find Ging, but Killua was like, you probably would have just ended up being a hunter anyway. Which is pretty much confirmed. Like we get to see a little bit about like what kid Ging was like, and Gon is essentially his clone too. We don't even know like much about Gon's mom, but Gon is like narratively he's pretty much just like Ging 2.0. And I think I have some panels of Kid Ging that like backed it up. Oh yeah, like this is Kid Ging on the right. Gon really is just Ging 2.0, but we'll talk about this. We'll talk about this a little bit more. Okay. This panel on the left here, this is like a box created by Nen, and inside of it, it has a message for Gon. And Mito specifically says, give this message to Gon when he becomes a hunter. So that means like if Gon had never became a hunter, he probably would have went his entire life without ever seeing Ging or hearing his voice or knowing anything about him. What's up, Neil? How you doing? Yeah, if Gon like just decided to be a normal human being, he probably never would have even known who Ging was. And if he never met Kite, he probably never would have even wanted to know who Ging was. And Ging has always been someone who's just driven by his own selfish desires, which is something that him and Gon have in common. They're both like genuinely just meant to become hunters, because hunters are just like selfish by nature. But this is Ging on the left. This is showing you that like Gon and Ging are literally just clones of each other. Ging, as a child, it's implied he fought like using this fishing rod too in a similar manner to how Gon did. I was thinking about it. I think Togashi legit just forgot that Gon used to use this fishing rod. I wish that it stayed a part of his fighting style, but Anyways, uh, in the manga, I don't know if this scene on the right is in the anime, but like we start to get an understanding of like Gon's family tree in the manga. So this woman, this like old woman who lives with Gon, that's not his grandmom. That's his great grandmother actually, because she says that Jing is the only son of her eldest son. So that means like her son's son is Jing, and then so that makes her, this woman is Gon's great grandmother, based off of that. And then Mito is Jing's cousin. Okay, so this gives us a little bit more insight on like how the family tree, Gon's family tree, works out. Let me see, which one did I want to read first? Okay, yeah. So let's read the left panel first. So Jing like left to become a hunter at age 11 while Jing's father was still alive. Gon might actually just come from a long line of deadbeats. We don't actually know much about Jing's dad. We just know that like after Jing left to become a hunter, Jing's father got lost at sea. So we don't know who Gon's like grandfather is. He could have just been a normal like fisherman, or he was also a hunter and just like got like cooked during a hunting mission, or maybe he's like going towards the Dark Continent or something. We know nothing about Jing's father other than he just got lost at sea like after Jing went to become a hunter. But it's interesting, like Jing's father was alive and like known, and then Jing was like, well, I'm 11 years old, I'm just gonna leave and become a hunter. So we don't know like what his father was really doing. Might just be a straight up long line of deadbeats with these guys. We don't actually know. And on the right hand panel here, let's see, there was a point I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, so this right hand panel, this is them saying like they don't know anything about Gon's mother, but Aunt Mito actually does adopt Gon. Like in the manga, she like canonically adopts him. So that's pretty interesting. And then here's in the manga, I don't know if this is actually in the anime, but this is Gon saying like he doesn't, like Jing doesn't even seem like a father to him. And he feels more comfortable just referring to Jing as his first name rather than like actually calling him dad. So yeah, and that kind of sticks like throughout the entire series. And when he does meet Jing, he comes back and tells Mito that like he didn't really seem like a dad. He seemed more like an uncle that I've always heard about. But he just refers to Jing by his first name. And then this is his message that he gets from Jing. Jing is saying like hunters are a bunch of egomaniacs. And he's saying like, if you think it would be nice to meet me, you're wrong. Like it would not be nice to meet me. And then this is like the first words Gon ever hears from Jing in his entire life. Jing straight up says, "Welp, I don't want to see you, bro." Like that's the first thing. This is Gon's first time ever hearing Jing's voice, and he says, "I don't want to see you." But he actually like, depending on how you interpret this statement, you could say that Jing feels slightly guilty for abandoning him. Because he says, honestly, I don't know how I could face you. I quit being a parent for selfish reasons. And then he follows it up by saying he's not a good person. And then he just says, but I'm always going to be who I am. This is the first thing Gon ever hears from his father in his entire life, by the way. Which is pretty wild. Most kids, if you hear that, you're like, all right, well, a kid would just hate his father after that, most likely. But Gon is just kind of meant to be like the ultimate hunter in the future. That's kind of who he's just like portrayed to become, because he hears all of that and he just gets hyped up by it and just thinks like, oh yeah, hunting him down will be a fun adventure. But a normal human being would just like be saddened by this. This is also just Jing like out on some crazy adventure while Gon is saying this, and it kind of like is implying that, you know, Gon and Jing are very similar people. They're both meant to be crazy hunters, like constantly pursuing like the next big thing at all times. That's who Jing is, and that's like exactly who Gon is as well. And then this is Jing saying, If you still want to see me, then come find me. But like I said, I don't want to see you. If I hear you coming, I'm gonna run away, bro. And he's like, you're a hunter, so like find me. And instead of having a normal reaction to that, Gon just gets hyped up by it. So this is just showing you like Gon is very, his mentality is just very different. Like Gon is meant to be a hunter, just straight up plain and simple. He has a true hunter's mentality. And low key, he doesn't even really view Ging like a dad. He's kind of just viewing Ging like an objective. But yeah, he's pretty wild. I think, yeah, that was everything I wanted to show, just talking about Ging being a deadbeat. And I actually made a deadbeat tier list, man. I made a deadbeat tier list. So here's 3 of some of the like most well-known deadbeats in fiction. You got Yujiro Hanma from Baki. You got Goku from Dragon Ball Super, because honestly, like Goku in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, he's not really that much of a deadbeat. He did his best to be a pretty good father. Bromus, you said Luffy's childhood friend. Yeah. You mean Usopp's dad? Usopp's dad is also a deadbeat. I should have added him to this list, to be honest. That's a good one. But if I was making a deadbeat tier list, I would put Goku in the deadbeat tier. This is Goku from Dragon Ball Super. He's a deadbeat to Goten, because Goten is actually like a Gohan, the same amount of potential, more or less. Relative amounts of potential to Gohan, actually likes fighting, actually wants to train, and then Goku just like ignores him anyway in Super. But in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, he wasn't really like that with Goten. Like throughout the entire Buu saga, he's training Goten like as much as he possibly can. He's actually, I mean, honestly, Goku is not a bad dad, especially when you compare him to Ging. Like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z Goku, like he's actually pretty caring towards Gohan and like spends a good amount of time with him and like doesn't push him too hard or anything like that. Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z Goku, I don't even think he's a real deadbeat. But when you have Dragon Ball Super Goku, that Goku is a deadbeat. So I have him in the deadbeat fraud tier. Yujiro, it depends on which of his sons you're talking about. Yujiro, I think, has like hundreds of children. Oh wait, Bromish, you said, no, I'm talking about Sabo. Sabo ain't nothing more than Luffy's childhood friend. Oh, that's crazy. Yo, Lilos, who do you think has more money, Zoldix or Ging? That is a good question. We actually have no idea. I mean, I'd say probably the Zoldix, because they have a combined income of like multiple high-level assassins. But Ging individually probably has more money than any of them individually. But like the Zoldix as a whole, like their whole estate, all of it together is a ton of cash. But I mean, it really could be either one of them. Ging is, I mean, he casually gave out $4 billion and didn't even care. So he's insanely rich. But yeah, I don't know. The Zoldix would have to have multiple billions of dollars. They probably do. It's debatable. Who's more rich, Ging or Zoldix? I don't know. It might be Zoldix. We don't really know if Ging like spends his money on anything. Like, Ging might just genuinely be homeless, bro. Like, he might just be a homeless multi-trillionaire. Anyways, talking about Yujiro, Yujiro, I think it canonically has hundreds of children. So to like 99.99% of all of his children, Yujiro would be in the pinnacle of deadbeats. Most of them, he doesn't even care about them at all. But Baki is the only son he has that he genuinely cares about. And Yujiro was like a complete scumbag to him his whole childhood. But like the Hanma bloodline, Hanmas are pretty much like Saiyans. And Yujiro, like his desire was to make Baki like a powerful Hanma. So like when you read the whole manga, you realize like Baki is like his favorite son. And he has dialogue where he straight up says he loves Baki and is just like genuinely proud of Baki. And they actually have like a good relationship now in the current chapters. It was just like, if you're not the second strongest in the whole Baki verse, by a large margin, then Yujiro just kind of hates you. But like, I don't know. You could make an argument that even till Tabaki, he's in the pinnacle of deadbeats, but I lean towards putting him in the mid tier deadbeats because like everything Yujiro did, his goal, like his desire was for Baki to become like like a proper Hanma, and Hanmas are like basically not even human beings. It's kind of like raising a Saiyan, so I give him kind of a pass on that. At least he actually shows up, bro. like Yujiro will just show up sometimes and just check on Baki, knock him out, and then leave. He's actually like checking on Baki's progress. He goes out of his, like, if you read the whole manga, Baki will just be minding his own business. Yujiro like just appears out of nowhere like a villain, beats him up, slams him into the dirt, and then leaves. And or will like one shot kill one of his friends or something, and he'll be like, all right, if you wanna be a real Hama, you better get stronger. And then he just leaves. It's like Yujiro's constantly showing up through the manga, checking on his progress. But Ging is at the pinnacle of deadbeats. He just straight up leaves his son, doesn't care what happens to him. While his son was dying, he didn't even check on him. He's just actually the true pinnacle of deadbeats. He has, especially when you factor in the fact that he has multiple billions of dollars, didn't give a single penny to him. It's insane. Like if you look at Baki, Yujiro, he like, I don't think he even has money. He just like gets everything he wants because he's too strong. I don't think he pays for anything. Like he just goes in, takes whatever he wants. Like if he wants like the most expensive suits, most expensive cars, no one can stop him. So he just like lives as if he's a multi-trillionaire. But I don't know if Yujiro actually pays money for anything. I think he just intimidates people into everything. But with Ging, he's a multi-trillionaire and just chooses not to give his son a single dollar. Also, we see Baki grew up very rich too, because his mom was rich. Bromish said, "Do you think Jack will earn Yujiro's respect soon? If he does not awaken the Hanma back, then no. Like Baki, like Yujiro has some dialogue where he's like, Baki is just like the most pure Hanma blood possible. He is just genuinely Baki's golden. I mean, he is the golden child of the Hanma bloodline. Like that, he's the only son Yujiro actually loves, and he's also the one that's the most like Yujiro. You notice it throughout the manga. Baki just has moments where he acts exactly like Yujiro, does things exactly the same way Yujiro would. So, and like Baki earned Yujiro's approval a long time ago. Like when Baki was like 13, that was the first time Yujiro was like, you guys have made him a splendid fighter, but he said nothing like that about Jack even now. And then Baki awoken the Hanma back when he was like 16 years old. And Jack, I think, is almost 20, still hasn't awoken it. He might be like 21, 22, still hasn't awoken it. So unless Jack awakens the demon back, then nah. It's like, if he doesn't awaken the demon back, then he's no good in Yujiro's eyes. But, yeah, there's other deadbeats you could put on here, like Dragon or Yasop. If I put Yasop on here, I'd put him in the deadbeat fraud category, or maybe mid-tier. He might be a mid-tier. I don't know. You could make an argument that Yasop's near the pinnacle, but I think he's in mid-tier. Yeah, Awakened, true. Like, it's just like Jack just wasn't... I mean, Yujiro has a line of dialogue where he's like, the Hanma blood is too diluted in Jack. Like, Baki's like a pure Hanma, but like Jack is like more like a normal human than he is a Hanma. Juan, what's up, bro? The Deadbeat stream. Gon, you said perhaps in his own way, Ging wanted Gon to make his own way in life. I mean, you could say that, but it's not a very strong argument because he's literally a multi-billionaire leaving his son to just live in the woods, and he straight up says, I don't want to see you. Those are the first words he ever says to him. He's like, I don't want to see you. And it's like Gon wouldn't have even gotten that message if Gon just lived a normal life. And he verbally like straight up admits like he left Gon just for his own selfish reasons, not for a good, morally ethical reason at all. He's just like, I want to just go have fun. Yo, Dave said, do you think Gon would be a deadbeat as well? It's hard to say. I mean, Gon is 12 years old. So like we don't know what he's gonna be like as a full grown adult. Especially now that he's going through like a straight up homeschooled education arc. We don't know like who he will be at the end of that. Who wins, adult gone or deadbeat amped Jing? I'm leaning towards adult gone. But Jing saying that could be Jing motivating Gon to continue his hunt. Kinda, but it's just a messed up thing to say as a father. I mean, if you just pay attention to like all the dialogue and everything Jing has said, if Gon didn't become a powerful hunter, Jing never would have seen him and never wanted to. But Twilight, you said, what are we defining as deadbeat? Jing giving his son to a loving family and the tools to find out who his dad and mom is versus Yujiro leaving his son with his weird mom, plus killed her and Baki's friend. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying Jing's a deadbeat because he's canonically a multi. He literally. You might have missed the beginning of the stream, but during the Succession War, Jing casually gives out $4 billion without blinking an eye. Meanwhile, he just lets Gon and Aunt Mito live in the woods. They'd be lucky if they even have running water. They're just straight up struggling out in the woods. Meanwhile, Jing is just out there living like a completely selfish life with literally multi billions. So much money he can give out $4 billion to strangers without even blinking an eye. The first words he ever says to Gon is, "I don't want to see you," and "I left you for purely selfish reasons." And then when Gon is literally dying, he doesn't even go to visit him. Meanwhile, Yujiro, on the other hand, he's just raising Baki to be a Hanma. Everything he's doing is intentionally to make him the strongest Hanma possible. Hanmas aren't even like actually like the same thing as normal human beings in that verse. Like they might like literally not even be full human. They might be like part demon or something. They're just raised fundamentally different. And if you just read the whole manga, like Yujiro's constantly like checking up on Baki, just trying to make him stronger. That's the whole story. He just wants Baki to be stronger. And Yujiro, like word for word, says that he loves Baki and that Baki is his favorite son. So I mean, yes, Yujiro is a deadbeat, but like he's a Hanma deadbeat, so that takes it down a little bit. If they were normal human beings, then he'd be right up there with the pinnacle of deadbeats, but they're Hanmas, so it's a little bit different. Daniel Dees, you said, when Gon was in the hospital during election arc, Jing decided it was more useful to aggro Leorio into punching him so he could get a new ability rather than visit Gon. True. You said, I mean, freakses are low-key not normal humans either. That's a fair point, but it's like, I guess that's a fair point, but it's different when you have like full, like, okay, even if you want to go with that argument that they're not normal humans, Yujiro goes out of his way to visit Baki multiple times throughout the series and straight up train him. Like, you guys should read the Baki manga. Like, Yujiro and Baki have full-fledged flashbacks where, like, Yujiro would just, like, there's, like, little kid Baki. Like, he's, like, 5 years old. I'll explain the whole lore. Like, Baki will be fighting people and he'll be like, dude, this guy is nothing compared to the training my dad gave me when I was like 5 years old. And you see like 5-year-old Baki like being picked up by Yujiro, taken out and just trained. Like, Yujiro trained him, bro. Like, Yujiro did a lot more for Baki than what Ging did for Gon, which is, it's a sad truth when you really think about it, bro. Bassfish, dude, thank you for the donation, man. I really appreciate it. You said, love your content. Hopefully I can make videos like you. Bro, you totally can. Like, all YouTube is, man, if you have, like, some series that you're passionate about, you just explain why you're passionate about it. That's it. That's all you got to do. You just explain why you're passionate about something consistently, and that's all. But thank you, man. I appreciate that a lot. But yeah, you guys should read the Baki manga, bro, because Yujiro actually does, like, spend a good amount of time with Baki, like, all throughout his childhood. Like, there's a lot of flashbacks where you have, like, 5-year-old Baki being trained by Yujiro, like, 10-year-old Baki being trained by Yujiro, and then when he's 13, Yujiro just pops up over and over again and, like, checks on his progress. It's very different than what Ging does. Suki, who's the worst dad, Yujiro or Jing? Well, it depends on which child you're talking about. So, like, Yujiro has hundreds of children. So, to 99% of all of Yujiro's children, he would be the pinnacle of deadbeats. But to Baki specifically, he's just a mid-tier deadbeat. Is what I'd say. And in the manga right now, Yujiro and Baki actually have a good relationship. Like, they get along with each other. And I mean, you could kind of, like, low-key, that is kind of how Ging and Gon are, too. Like, Gon actually has Jing's phone number now and calls him and asks him for help and stuff. But I still put, like, Ging one tier above Yujiro in the deadbeat category just because, like, Yujiro was there more often and, like, wasn't planning on abandoning Baki. But Ging 100% would have abandoned Gon if Gon wasn't strong. But I mean, the same applies to Baki too. So that's why I'm saying, like, to 99% of Yujiro's kids, he is the pinnacle of deadbeats. But to Baki specifically, because Baki was strong, Yujiro's mid tier. Bromish, you said it does not depend on which child. To Baki, he's a worse dad than Ging objectively. True. Okay, yeah, that's a fair point. From Baki's perspective, yes, that's true. Baki, I mean, like, his whole fight with Yujiro is actually really fascinating because he goes in detail on his, like, psyche with Yujiro. Like, Baki hates Yujiro, loves Yujiro, is terrified of him, and deeply respects him all at the same time. But, like, it's a very interesting, they actually have an interesting dynamic because he straight up says, like, he's terrified of him and deeply respects him, and, like, wants to be like him at the same time. It's a very interesting thing. Bromish, you said that's not what you're talking about? Oh. Ging just isn't a dad. That's the thing. That's true. But all right, guys. I had one more stream I wanted to do, just like talking about the hiatuses in Hunter x Hunter. So I think I will. Oh wait, hold on. Bromish, you said Yujiro executed Baki's mom right in front of him. How is it even an argument who's a worse dad? Yeah, that is terrible. I'm not gonna lie, that was messed up. But the only reason I put Ging above him in terms of deadbeats is just because, like, Hanmas are, like, low key, like, not even, like, full-fledged humans. Like, they're almost like their own species with, like, how they refer to themselves. But yeah, I was saying, like, to anyone other than Baki, he's pinnacle of deadbeats. But I mean, just because he was always there for, like, throughout Baki's life, that's the big differential factor. You could make an argument that, like, they're just this, they're both in the pinnacle. But I lean towards putting him in mid-tier. And also, it's like, if you read the manga, Yujiro wasn't trying to kill his mom. Like, he's just too strong. He was trying to hug her out of gratitude, but she died. It was kind of crazy, but, like, if you analyze the scene where, like, Baki asks him, like, why'd you kill her? It's, like, implied that he wasn't trying to. He was trying to show his gratitude, but she just died. It's the same thing that happened at the end of their fight, too. Like, Yujiro showed his gratitude to Baki with a hug, and it just one-shot him, but Baki was strong enough to not die from it. Momo, stop. Oh, no, no, no. Dude, Momo was just, like, she was clawing the microphone cord. Chill. But yeah, it's just Hanmas are not like normal humans. But you could make the argument Ging is also. I mean, Freak Sisters are also not normal either. Momo, relax, dang. Giga chat, exactly. But alright, chat, that's everything for this stream. I have one more I want to do, just analyzing the hiatuses in Hunter x Hunter. So I'm going to end this one and then start the next one. So I'll see you guys on the next one. And thank you, everybody, for all the comments, all the views. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys on the next stream.